Okay, so verse number.
Yeah, so you are the phone line or you didn't go on phone line?
Sorry?
Phone line, did you connect it with that?
Yeah. Phone line I've connected. I forgot to start the recorder.
Okay.
I have, I think, Samir is on the phone, right? Yeah. Okay, so verse number 16 is it. See, now here it says it. It doesn't say he. It exists without and within all beings. It is unmoving and yet also moving. Because of its subtlety, he is unknowable and is near as well as far away. So, this is just trying to transcend your mind, because the mind always wants to conceptualize something. So, if I say Brahman, automatically you want to understand, okay, what is Brahman? You want to conceptualize it. As soon as you conceptualize it, you limit it. Anything that the mind can define, definition means you put a line around it, you describe it. As soon as you do that, it becomes limited. So it's trying to break down all definitions that the mind might come up with for Brahman. So that's why it's playing all these games, with words, with logic, that it exists within and without all beings. That's fine. It's unmoving, yet it's also moving, meaning that when it is in a body, whether it's a plant or a tree or an animal or a human body, whatever force it takes, even a sun, a gas that's burning, anything that is moving is also Brahman, yet consciousness itself is unmoving. Again, you see how the transcendental principle overlays with the immanent, the material aspect. It's almost touching each other, but it never touches one another. So everything, even space, has both the transcendental, the consciousness principle, which overlays sort of its reflection. Everything that exists is sort of a reflection. It's like your shadow. It exists. And because of its subtlety, but that is unknowable. It's unknowable, like I said, because if it is known, it becomes limited. And the subtlest, because Brahman is the subtlest layer, it is unknowable. Like mind is subtle, it's a subtle aspect, it's the Sukshma Sharir. But something which is even subtler than the mind cannot grasp. The mind can only grasp up till its level, up till wherever it is. But something which is beyond the mind, it's impossible for the mind to grasp. But we operate from the mind level, you see. So the only way you can really understand, not even understand, the only way is to experience. Because in experience is the knowing of Brahman. So I can describe Brahman X number Z Y, but the true knowingness, the true knowledge, the end of knowledge is the experience of Brahman when the mind is transcended. So it is unknowable, it is near as well as far away. It's just again trying these things where it is very close to you, yet it is transcendental. So again, it's this principle that consciousness of Brahman is immanent, it is near, yet it is transcendental, yet it is far away. So it's like saying, God. I mean, if it's easier for you to relate to Ishwar or God, you can say God is with you, yet He's so transcendental. He's with you, He's always everywhere, He permeates everything, yet it is not something you can hold or touch. It's very far away in that sense. That's what that means. Okay, so verse number 17 is, He is undivided, yet exists as if divided in beings. Know that to be the supporter of all beings and is the destroyer and creator of all. So like, you would, supposing you take a ball of clay, or you take a big piece of gold. Now from that one piece of clay, without breaking the clay, from one sort of like one rock. Sometimes you have this huge rock and you can carve out so many things from that same rock, or from that same piece of clay you can make so many different forms. Even though it's one piece of clay, it's one piece of rock or one piece of wood, or one huge piece of gold, so many forms can be made out of it, yet the substance is the same. But when it's separated, you feel like, okay, you have, so many, yet it is all one. So that's what it's saying here, that it appears divided, but it's really undivided. There's no divisions in that, even though you see everything as separate and divided. It's only because of our lack of understanding that oneness or seeing that oneness. So again, it says, know that to be the supporter of all beings, and he's the destroyer and creator of all. That's pretty straightforward. So then verse number 18, it is, that Brahman is the light of all lights. It is said to be beyond darkness. It is knowledge itself. It is to be known. It is seated in the hearts of all and can be reached by knowledge. It's a very beautiful verse. That Brahman is the light of all lights. It's in the sense that it is the source light from which all lights have come. All souls have come as though cell division from that one supreme light, from that original creator, that one creator. From that all souls have come. All lights of all forms, all suns, all galaxies, everything has come from that one light. So it is the parent light, the source. It is the source of all lights. Everything that is lit up, everything that exists, it is that from which everything comes. And it's also beyond darkness. So it's source of all lights, and it is also beyond darkness. So it's sort of saying here that it is not actually either the physical light or the physical darkness. It's beyond that duality. So that's why it's saying it's said to be beyond darkness. It is knowledge itself, because it is the source of all knowledge. So that is why it is knowledge itself. If see, if you say that somebody is intelligent, then you ask, where did that intelligence come from? What is the source of that intelligence? So that is why again this intellect or this logic is being used in Vedanta. It always says that, it always tries to establish the fact that nothing is apparent to it, nothing is a source of it. It is the original cause. It is the knowledge itself. It cannot gain knowledge from something else or someone else, because it is knowledge itself. So that is what it's trying to establish here. So again here it may seem like a controversy, because in the previous verse it said it is unknowable by the intellect. But it is to be known, meaning it has to be, you can become Brahman. It is to be known, meaning it's a different sense here, is that it is the only thing that is really worth becoming. So this known is more like being Brahman, not known in terms of the mental being known, not the intellect knowing. It is to be known. It is seated in the hearts of all. It is, in here it's not the physical heart, but it's a spiritual heart. It's the seat of the soul, where the spark of consciousness is there in all hearts, and it can be reached by knowledge. And when you say reached by knowledge, this is not some intellectual knowledge. It is more like wisdom. Jnana is not information. When you can see the spark of divinity in all souls, that is knowledge. So it says it's seated in the hearts of all and can be reached by knowledge. You can see, when you can see that divinity in all things, that truly is knowledge, and that is that's the only way you can reach it, is through that wisdom, is through that evolution, the evolved being that has experienced its own divinity, can see that divinity in all. Okay, the verse number 19 is, thus the kshetra as well as the knowledge, kshetrajna, and what is to be known has been briefly stated. Knowing this in reality, my devotee enters into my being. So, enters into my being is nothing but entering into that field of consciousness. When you have dedication, when you dedicate yourself to really realizing your true essence, having that devotion and single pointed intention for realization, for liberation, then only will you be able to gain this wisdom of the kshetra and kshetrajna. And once you do that, once it becomes a reality, a living reality in your life, not just something intellectual, but something that you live, that's when you enter into the realm of consciousness. That's what that means. Okay. Verse number 20 is, know both matter and spirit to be beginningless. Also know that all modifications and gunas are born of prakriti. So, it is not, in dharma, nothing is linear. Everything is a cycle. So it's not just that the spirit or consciousness is beginningless. Even matter is endless cycle. It's like a zero. There's no beginning. There's no end. It just keeps going round and round and round. So it's something which is without a beginning and without an end. So even matter, it's not like, it started at Big Bang and then, there'll be the end of the universe and that's it. It's not like that. Even matter has been created, destroyed, created, destroyed, created, destroyed endlessly. Everything is endless. Creation is endless, matter is endless, spirit is endless, everything is endless. Because if the creator is endless, his creation is also endless. That's the meaning here. And all the modifications and the gunas that you see as, in creation, how you think of a fetus, it comes into being, it is born, it grows, it ages, it grows old, and then it dies, and so forth. All these modifications, all these changes, all these cycles, whether it's of a fetus, a human body, or the cycles you see in nature, or the cycles you see in creation, different scales of time, they're just different scales of time, whether it's this lok or other loks. All these gunas, all these changes, all these modifications, they belong to they are the law, they are the ruling laws of creation. So when Prakriti is made, it's made with certain laws, right? Physical laws as well as other subtle laws, and those laws are the ones that rule Prakriti. And verse number 21, in the production of the effect and the cause, Prakriti is said to be the cause. In the experience of pleasure and pain, Purusha is said to be the cause. So it's just saying that when it comes to matter, whether it's the production of the effect or the cause, it's the matter, the source is matter, another material principle that is the cause, right? Like you have science. So science rules are for matter, anything that can be measured. But when it comes to pleasure and pain, that is the realm of consciousness, because there you need a consciousness principle to exist for you to feel pleasure and pain. A piece of wood cannot experience pleasure and pain. Pleasure and pain can only be experienced when there is prana, when there is prana shakti, when there is a certain amount of consciousness level which exists in that matter. Only then pleasure and pain can be experienced. Okay, then 22. The Purushaha seat.
One more question for 20. Verse 21.
Yeah.
Effect and the cause. You explained to pleasure and pain comes from the Purusha consciousness.
Correct.
But this Prakriti is the cause.
Correct.
Of the.
Yeah, it's saying when it comes to the production of the effect and the cause, Prakriti is said to be the cause. It's production in Prakriti, like how, in a lab you mix two chemicals and a third chemical is produced. There, Prakriti is working. The principles of nature, of science, of the physical matter are working. So certain laws, like you combine gas with fire, it'll flame up. So there the laws of Prakriti are the cause. It doesn't need a consciousness principle to happen. Whereas when it comes to the experience of pleasure and pain, you need to have consciousness principle present. Like, you drop a ball, then gravity is working, right? So gravity is the cause.
Yeah.
That's all it's saying. It's just saying that, there are certain laws that are ruled over Prakriti, and certain things which need the consciousness to be present to have that experience.
Okay.
Ultimate source or cause is always consciousness, Brahman. For Prakriti, it's just here, it's just talking about Prakriti and Purushaha. It's already come into the duality. The source of both is Brahman. So Prakriti and Purushaha is a different level of speaking. These things, if you go into the discussions, is very deep. Every verse, like this is Samkhya Yoga. When you talk about Prakriti and Purushaha, and you talk about which governs what Prakriti governs, what Purushaha governs, this is Samkhya Yoga, which is by Kapila Rishi. He had expounded on the Samkhya Yoga. So it's just differentiating it in different ways. You can talk about Brahman at the Brahman level, where everything is the cause of everything is Brahman. But then when you come down into the first two, which are created as Prakriti and Purusha, then you can say, Prakriti governs this and Purusha governs this. So Purusha seated in Prakriti means Purusha, the principle of Purusha, the consciousness principle, is seated in Prakriti, alone experiences the gunas born of Prakriti, and the attachment with these gunas is the cause of birth in good and evil wombs. Basically, it's just that when the soul attaches itself to Prakriti, unfortunately, when a soul becomes attached to the material equipments, the mind and body, and attaches itself, that's when it attaches itself to its experiences. See, even an enlightened person will experience gunas, but the attachment with those gunas is what causes our cycle of birth and death. Enlightened person is not attached to the gunas, he simply witnesses it. If an enlightened person has hot food, like spicy food and all, he will suddenly feel the rajas or the tamas increasing in the body, but he will observe it detached way. What problem with us is, because we are so attached to it, we flow with it, we are affected by it, we cannot separate ourselves from it. So the attachment to the gunas, the attachment to the experience of being in the body and thinking that we are the body, we are the mind, that causes birth and death. This is a very important verse. Do you understand it?
Yeah, I mean, at least basically I'm getting it. What does it mean that the materialist interpretation and prakriti takes you to the birth um, in good or whatever, good way, or the death in the bad way, something like that.
No, it says basically what happens is that, see, if there is attachment to the, see, like, you think of it like, okay, so there is a piece of clay, okay? Now you put a consciousness in it. Like, think of it like a cartoon film, okay? So now there's this piece of clay, and now imagine this mist of spirit coming into that clay, and suddenly the clay starts talking, and this thing, that thing, starts functioning. Now, when the mist, when the spirit that has come into this piece of clay, when it starts thinking, I'm the piece of clay, I'm the one who's acting, I'm this body, I'm the mind that is functioning, now you've become attached to that piece of clay. But when the spirit knows that the piece of clay is simply like a puppet, that I am simply using like a glove, I'm not the glove, I'm the hand. I'm controlling it through these strings. I'm not this. When that differentiation is there, then you don't end up accumulating all the consequences of it through ignorance. So when you realize that you are not this, then that is liberation, that you are detached. But when there's attachment with the experiences of being there, and you think these experiences are my experiences, so the attachment to the gunas is the cause of birth and death in evil wombs. Meaning that you attach things which does not belong to the spirit as though it belongs to the spirit, when it does not. So that ignorance, when you forget, the forgetfulness, we have forgotten who we are. We are simply a hand in a glove. We are not the glove. So when you do things out of ignorance, because all mistakes, all consequences, all karma are born out of ignorance and attachment. So you will accumulate consequences, and then you have to burn those consequences. You have to face ways of reducing whatever you've accumulated. That's what it says here. The attachment to the gunas. They don't belong to you. They belong to that creation. It's like you have a stage play. You're not the actor. You're simply acting. So the attachment to that which you have created is the problem. 23 is the Supreme Purusha in the body is also called the witness, the permitter, the supporter, the enjoyer, the great Lord, and the Supreme Self. So once you realize that the Supreme Consciousness is the one that is witnessing, it is like you should witness yourself as though it's a puppet show. You're just the witness. You are the permitter. You are allowing yourself to go through this life experience. You are supporting this body, meaning you, the spirit, you, the consciousness, you, the Atma, is supporting this life. It is the spirit in this body that is enjoying it. It is simply, you cannot really enjoy a lot of things unless you are in the body. So you are simply the enjoyer. You come in here, you enjoy the world, you enjoy love, you enjoy all these feelings, all these experiences, pleasure and pain, everything you experience, but you're just simply the enjoyer for a short period of time. You're here only as a traveler. You're here only for a short while to enjoy life through this body. But you're not this body. You're simply using this body like a glove and operating through it. But you are that Supreme Self. You are not the body. So it's just saying you are the witness, you are the permitter, you are the supporter, you are the enjoyer, you are the great Lord, and you are the Supreme Self. So he who thus knows the Purusha and Prakriti together with the gunas, even though acting in every way, he is not born again. So essentially now you have realized your true essence. You have separated yourself from identifying with this body and mind. You understand that you are that Purusha that is acting through the Prakriti and the gunas of the Prakriti. And even though you are acting in every way in this world, even though you are not that which you think, you no longer, you never identify yourself as that. Yes? Understood?
Got it. I think Sum doesn't have his microphone off. So.
Sumanji, can you mute yourself? I don't know how to mute him. I used to be able to. Let's see. I muted. Okay, so let's see where we were. All right. So he is not born again. That's verse number 25. The one who knows. Sumanchi, could you mute your microphone? Can you hear us? I don't think he can hear us. I don't know how to mute him. Anyway, we'll continue. Huh? Okay. So verse number 26 is, see, others not knowing this path of yoga, but having heard it from others, worshipped, they too crossed. Okay, so basically these two verses go together. So verse number 25 is that some by, oh, we missed this. Sorry. Verse number 25 is some by meditation, some by yoga of knowledge, Samkhya yoga, and some others by karma yoga, see the self in the self by the self. So here it's talking about the summary of the whole Gita. Basically it's saying how...
24, which is something like...
Where did I miss it? We did 24, no?
Together.
Yeah.
In whatsoever condition he may be, he is not born again.
Yeah, basically he's realized that he is Purusha, acting through Prakriti. The one who has realized that he is Purusha, acting through Prakriti, has gained liberation.
Okay.
Whoa. Did I lose you? Shoot.
So the Prakriti in this case is the true nature. Is that the same concept we learned previously?
Yeah. Prakriti, yes. It's basically your body, mind, everything, everything that that you're using, your intellect, all of those things that come into existence as soon as you're born, or even as soon as you take up the body, all the functions that come with the body, that is Prakriti. Prakriti is basically all these envelopments that you take up as soon as you're born. And everything that you lose as soon as you die. So basically, both of them are together when you're alive, and then they separate. You leave with your subtle body as soon as you die. So you can think of it like that. Even though when you die, you still have your subtle body and Karan Sharir, your Sukshma body. Okay, number 25 is some by meditation, some by yoga of knowledge, and others through karma yoga, see the self in the self by the self. So you can use these methods, by meditation, by knowledge, Gyan Yoga, by Karma Yoga. You can see the self in the self by the self, because everything is self, right? So what it means here is, this is very important again logically. So how is it that you can know your consciousness? So it says by the self. And what is it that you know then? If you're coming to know of yourself by the self, what exactly does that mean? It means that it's a realization that everything is the self. The knower is the self. What is to be known is the self, and the process of knowing is the self. So there is no three things. Generally, the see the person who is the person learning, like Vinita. I am the one who is learning, and there is something that has to be known, the process of knowing. So there are three things: the person who is learning, the subject that has to be the end result that has to be learnt, the final object of learning, and the process of learning, the studying. So is Vinita studying the Gita? So there are three things, right? Vinita and studying and Gita. In the self, it is not like that. It is not three different things. It's very different from this worldly knowing, where there's Vinita and she's studying and there's Gita. The object to be known, or the final thing to be known, is also Vinita, and the process of knowing it is also Vinita. So those three are one. It's not three different things. That's what's trying to describe here. The only way you can realize yourself is through the self only. So it's like the sun. You don't need a torchlight to illuminate the sun. The sun is self-illuminating. Just like that, the Atma is self-illuminating. You don't need anything to illuminate. It is a realization that you are Atma. It's very different. So the sun, supposing the sun forgets that, oh, I'm the one illuminating the whole world, the whole solar system, and it wonders, where is the source of this light? It doesn't know that the source of light is itself. Itself is illuminating everything. Just like that, we have forgotten that we are actually illuminating our experience. So when we turn back on ourselves and we realize, oh, it's me, I am the source of everything. It's like that musk deer, the musk deer is running through the forest wondering where the scent is coming from. The scent is originating from itself. It's running everywhere. So it's like the sun discovering its own luminosity. Nothing else is needed to realize it, that I am self-illuminating. So that is described here. It's saying you can use various methods to realize that you are that sun, that bright light that you are. You can realize that through meditation, you can realize that through knowledge, you can realize that through karma yoga. But whatever method you use, finally you will realize, you will see the self in yourself by the self. It will be a realization. So that's what it's trying to describe here. You can use whatever methods you want. And then it continues to verse number 26, where it says, others not knowing this path of yoga, basically others not knowing karma yoga, jnana yoga, bhakti yoga, all this stuff, meditation, but having heard of it from others and worship, again here's the bhakti yoga. So basically you hear it from other people. You're not of the level yet where you've done it, you followed this path yourself, but you hear it from other people, and you have a sense of great worship, great devotion, great faith. They too cross beyond death if they regard what they have heard as a supreme refuge. And so this is the easiest path. This is the path where you don't need to do karma yoga, you don't have to do jnana yoga, you don't have to meditate, but simply through the faith and that worship, that surrender, that trust that you have in what you have heard from other people, and that you know that yes, this is my supreme refuge, this is myself, they also transcend into that ultimate reality. So it describes that path, and then it describes this also, verse number 26. So 27 is, O Arjun, whenever any being is born, the moving or the unmoving, know that it is from the union between Kshetra and Kshetrajna. Yeah, basically everything is matter and spirit. It's not two separate things. He sees who sees the unperishing, indestructible Supreme Lord abiding equally in all perishing beings. So basically it's just saying that once you have that divine wisdom, you will see both consciousness and creation existent in everything. Not, you won't see just matter as non-existent, you won't see the planet as an object, you will see it as a living being. You will see everything as solidified spirit. Indeed, he who sees the same Lord equally present everywhere does not destroy the self by the self. Thereby he goes to the highest goal. So basically, you know, it's quite self-evident, these verses. Indeed, who sees the same Lord equally present everywhere. I mean, if you see yourself in everything, and you know that it is you and you and you and you and you alone, you will not destroy the self by the self. Therefore, he goes to the highest thing. It means that you will not think of anything as temporary. You will not think of something separate from you. There will be no sense of mine and other. So you will not destroy it, because it's like you won't cut your left hand with your right hand. So you will not destroy the self by the self. Therefore he goes to the highest goal, because everything is one. I'm going quickly now because it's past 8. He who sees that all actions performed by Prakriti alone, and the self is actionless, truly sees. Basically everything that is happening, it is consciousness is a witness to everything that is happening in Prakriti. It's happening in the body, and consciousness is simply the witness. When he sees the whole variety of beings as resting in the one and spreading forth from that one alone, he then becomes Brahman. This is very beautiful. When you become the ultimate witness, you see this whole creation as though it is like a movie that you're watching. It is like, you're seeing this brilliant, like, the Alice in Wonderland. It's like a movie, like a animation movie. You can see everything, and all this is as though in a big ball. When you have those Christmas balls and you shake them and it snows and everything is like the city or this thing is happening, or you turn the knob and everything functions. You'll see everything within that big ball, and everything is coming out of that, as though it's coming out of the womb of consciousness. Everything is coming into being and going back into that consciousness, coming out of that consciousness and going back, merging into that consciousness. It'll seem like this huge grand play. It's coming forth from that one alone. When you see all of that, then you are Brahman. You have become that one that can see everything that is happening within you only. Then you have become that one Brahman. It's very beautiful, very nice. O Arjun, being without beginning and being free of gunas, that supreme self, the imperishable, though dwelling in the body, it neither acts nor is tainted. Again, here it is that transcendental principle that I told you, there's two, like think of it as two discs which are very close to each other, but they never touch. So the consciousness is witnessing everything that it is experiencing in this body. And it's experiencing anger sometimes, emotion sometimes, pain sometimes, all these varieties of things that can be experienced through the body and mind and intellect. It's experiencing all this, but it is not tainted, just like space, Everything everything exists in space, yet you cannot taint space. Just like that, consciousness is like space. It permeates everything, but it's not touched by anything. Even if you look at an atom, 99.99% of any atom is actually space. Even electrons, when you look at an electron, it is simply vibration. So what it's saying is that everything is happening, yet nothing is touched. It's a phenomenal experience where it's almost like a dream. Like everything is happening, yet to the sleeper, he's not touched, he's not affected. It's simply like a dream. So that's what it's saying, he's not touched, he's not the one acting, but it is as though he is acting, as though the consciousness is acting. As the all-pervading ether is not tainted. So it's what I said earlier, is that space, ether is not tainted because of its subtlety. So too the self, seated everywhere in the body, is not tainted. Consciousness is not a matter. So if it's not matter, it cannot be tainted. So, O Arjun, just as the sun illumines the whole world, so also the Lord of Kshetra illumines the whole Kshetra. Same thing, I was talking to you earlier, just like the sun illumines the whole world, it's your consciousness that is illuminating your experience. Kshetra is not just body, not just matter, but also experience, thoughts, feelings, intellect. So it is your consciousness alone that can make this and make you experience all of this. So it is illuminating factor. Like I said, as soon as you wake up, when you're deep sleep, you don't experience anything. But as soon as you come back and you awaken, and as soon as your awareness, your mind, your consciousness returns, suddenly you start experiencing. You'll feel your breath, you'll see your mind start thinking, you'll feel your limbs, everything. So it is that consciousness that illumines everything that you experience. And they who with the eye of wisdom come to know the distinction between the Kshetra and Kshetragya and the liberation of beings from Prakriti go to the Supreme. So we've talked about this again, but basically it's those who can experience consciousness and who can be that consciousness, be established in that consciousness, and also see themselves experiencing everything. So they know they are consciousness having an experience. You are a spirit having an experience of life. So when you know that you are a spirit having an experience of light, that time you should know that you have now established yourself in your true nature, which is you are the Supreme, your consciousness. Sorry, I rushed it a bit at the end, but it's a repetition. A lot of this is a repetition because, in knowledge, what happens is that it is given to you from many ways, so that one way will strike you. See, like what happens is realization will come in an instant. But what will trigger that enlightenment, that realization, we don't know. So what happens with teachers, with rishis, gurus, they will go on and on and on, saying the same thing in different ways, giving different examples, using different words, because they don't know. With every student, it is different. Something will trigger it. If you listen to the experiences of these yogis and gurus and masters, suddenly they will experience this expansiveness, this oneness principle. But what triggered it? It could have been just a thought, oh, it's like this. So that is why the same thing, because Brahman is one. You can't really even describe him. You can only point to it and sort of say, look, there is that star. You can only point to it. You cannot describe it even. You can only attempt to take you to that experience. So all these different ways are used to, make you have this experience. Otherwise, if you see it really, it's talking about the same thing in different verses, in different ways. So somehow you will reach there at some point. Somebody asked Ramana Maharishi, why do we have so many Upanishads and so much Vedanta and so much knowledge when you simply need one mirror, right, to look at your reflection? Why do we have so many mirrors? Because each Ved, each Puran, each Itihas, each Upanishad, each everything is simply a reflection of the same knowledge. So why do we have so many mirrors? You simply need one mirror, but you don't know which mirror it is for you, where you will see your reflection. So that's why, all these mirrors are there and all these mirrors are being shown to you. At some point, you will see your reflection in one of those mirrors.
Very good, thank you. When I was reading this chapter, I thought, oh my God, this is a really dry chapter. But immediately, kind of.
You should reflect on it. It's an experience. Like it says here, it's an experience. So when you are in that witnesshood, then you will know the true meaning. Because you have to have both knowledge and experience. Otherwise, it's simply information and information. So when you experience this, then these verses will make more sense. All right, so we'll hang up now and we'll meet again next week.
Thank you so much.
All right, you guys take care. Have a good evening.
Yeah, good night.
Good night.